go over here to Sonia, and she's going to show us how this is all put together. How are you today?
I am doing really well. Thank you so much. This is a multi-step process. You have a drawing, and it's something simple or elaborate as whatever the designer has picked, and say it's the letter G. You put a fabric called crinoline. It's a utility fabric. You put it over and you trace it. You use pencil or you can use a Sharpie. From there, you have to place it upside down on a fabric that you're going to use for that particular embellishment. Here I used a silver lame tissue. It's rather thin, and you have to be careful when you use an adhesive.
At least if I can hold this up and you can hold the backing.
The backing is rather see-through, but it's a stiffening agent. It's a utility fabric, but you put it upside down so that the good side of the fabric is now showing. And then we embellish with sequin. And where the rule is every line is covered in a silver sequin. And from there, this is what happens when you do it upside down. You get the G, but it's upside down. From there, you embellish. And you can use stones, you can use mirrors, you can use rhinestones, you can use colored beads.
Okay, now that we're talking about embellishment, I see this has, what is it?
This is black sequin, and it's you use an adhesive. We do not use Elmer's. Elmer's has a tendency to run, and it doesn't dry quickly. There's several adhesives that people like to use. I've got my favorite. Other people have theirs.
Okay, because in the hot sun here, I'm sure you'll melt piece by piece.
In the hot sun here in Texas sun, most glues soften with the heat, so you have to tack these sequin down, and you just run little, they call rocailles or seed beads.
How long would you say one letter takes to do?
I'm pretty fast, and it'll probably take me about an hour. Because some ladies like to put it.
When you were saying fast, I thought maybe 20 minutes, an hour. Okay.
Well, it depends on what the designer wants and what the parent wants to do. We've had a couple of parents that want to put a bead on every single sequence. That takes a long time. Me, I go every 5, every corner, every turn.
Is this a learning process that one family teaches the other how to bring this about, how to create this whole thing?
Yes, but Joe Gale had mentioned that families and friends get together, and that's what happens. You have families come over, they trace with you, they put fabric onto the crinoline, that's what this is called.
So let's say if I were to do it, how long would it take me to start doing something like this? What is the process?
The process isn't a hard process. It just takes time. We can teach you how to put fabric. Some people are real good at putting fabric to crinoline. Some people have other interests. They like to bead. Some people love to stack. I'm a stacker. And that means you have a sequin with the faceted ball with a little bead on top. And it adds a texture to it. And I use mirrors. And the mirrors, on night of coronation, when that light hits these mirrors, we call them the fireflies up on the ceiling. And it's a very, very beautiful.
Okay, how many of these have you made for one dress, and how long approximately has it taken?
My first daughter took me 7 months to make. My second daughter's train took 4 months. And then her princess one took about 4 or 5 months.
Did you have help with that?
Yes, I did. I really did, but it takes up a lot of room in your house. Sometimes we call it the beast.
So you really can't have a small house?
You can't. When we remodeled, my husband said, "This is for the trains, right?" Yes, sir. And he has to be very understanding because it takes over. Every countertop, every dresser has the parts to these trains. And you've got these parts, and they're in various stages of development. And like I said, when you embellish a piece, that piece can go on the dress, it can go on the train, or it can go onto a headpiece. And this is a headpiece that I made for my daughter.
How long do these headpieces take to make?
That one took 6 weeks.
And it's heavy.
Yeah, but it's not that heavy. It's weighty.
It's heavy.
It's weighty, but it stays on her head, and that's what the important part was. And it's
Well, what I figure when I pick this 4 pounds of sugar, that tells you,
Yeah,
and you're holding this on your head, then you have that in back of you, and
Yes.
you have a lot of weight. So if you're short and sweet, you're going to get shorter and sweeter.
You're gonna build up your little core muscles, but all this takes a little bit of thought, because here is Boo Boo. Here is Boo Boo, from Yogi Berra, from Yogi
Okay.
Bear. He got traced on crinoline.
Okay, let's show this. How
He got traced on crinoline. I'm gonna have to go up and down. And then I'm just doing the bigger parts. Here is his mouth. Okay?
So we're creating
And your layers. And then you've got his bow tie, which is right here.
Okay, let's
Which
move
is
that up
another
as
one.
we do it. Okay.
Then we've got his nose, which is here.
I'm loving it.
Then you've got his one eye here, and then the other eye over here. And that's how you get pieces that have layers. So you put one piece on top of another piece on top of another piece. So something that's easy like Boo Boo would take maybe a week to do. And if you've got a train that's like this takes a little longer.
Okay.
This is pure love.
I don't want you to go away because I'll be right back to you because I want to speak about that train. Hi, we're back here with the Coronation Association, the Court of the 20th Century. And Sonia, let's continue. We were talking about putting these together. How are these trains put together?
These trains are put together in stages. And the last segment, we showed you how you had a little design. Well, they have a little train design. So you have your little design that the artist has drawn, and it's a certain shape. This is just a little version. And you put, for a stabilizing element, this furniture mesh. It goes down and it is cut the exact same shape as your train. Then we put another utility fabric over it to hide the little holes, and that becomes this. And then when we have this together as a unit, we grid it, which means in the old days, we used to hand draw every single piece. You would take the drawing, you would put paper together, you would grid it in 1 foot increments, and you would hand draw the interpretation on the small drawing to the big drawing.
Is this more difficult than quilting?
I think quilting's harder because you got to sew a straight line. This you don't have to, it gives you, there's a lot of leeway, but there's kind of not. But now that we have modern technology, we just pay a little money and we have it blown up to the exact size you need and the exact width you need.
That's amazing.
It's way easier. You just happily cut the check. But you do need to quilt this so that when you're working with the train, it doesn't move. It has a tendency to move because you unroll it and roll it, unroll and roll it to get it out, depending on where you want. So you do have an envelope. You have the furniture mesh, you have your Vera shape, I call it Vera shape, and then you have your base material that all gets enveloped.
Do you stitch this by machine or by hand?
by hand. This doesn't go through the machine.
Nothing goes through the machine.
Nothing goes through the machine,
Everything is done exclusively by
by
hand.
hand.
Okay.
Okay, and then on the train, we put this little binding, and that's where you put the little hook, or the backpack hook. And this corresponds to, and you have to use your imagination, this is the little dress. And this little part, this is just one side, and it snaps in, just like a dress would. And then here's the dress, and here's your train that comes behind it. And this
So-
particular is a smaller version of a large train.
And who would wear something
This
this
is
big?
a page to the royals, either a page to the queen or a page to the princess. And they usually attach right at the shoulder. Sometimes they attach at the waist, but mostly the little pages to the royals attach at the shoulder, and they are a mini representation of what the queen is wearing.
So what does the page do for the queen wearing this piece?
They just accompany. The court pages, however, are the ones who help the girls maneuver around the stage and the floor.
How many do you need to help them maneuver those trains through the floor?
2 to help immediately. These trains are usually about 9 feet behind the girl, and if the Duchess turns too sharply, she can't move. So the little pages move the train out of the way and straighten it up so that she continue going where she needs to go.
If she would get stuck.
She
in
would
other
get
words.
stuck. There's a couple of spots that the court pages have to help, because when she does the figure 8 near the Lord High Chamberlain, and then she goes back to do her bow in front of her Duke, there's a couple of tight spots. So that's where the court pages come in and help maneuver
Now,
this
this
around.
one is a little weighty.
This was for a little one, maybe age 6, 4 to 6, and they have a little dress, and this attaches just like I had shown you, and the corresponding hook is on the dress.
I see that's very well sewn on there that you
Yes.
don't have to snap off.
And this goes behind them, and they're all dressed up, but they are a mini representation of what the queen has. And so the
And
queen
this,
or the...
This is small and it's heavy. So what is the heaviest train that you know that you've had?
I knew several years ago a girl had a train well over 100 pounds. And she was probably 95 pounds dripping wet.
Okay.
But she carried it along. We've had many discussions. We should put, buttons and coasters and all kinds of stuff to make it roll easier, but the girl will just power through. Now, Farrell Tyson, the man who started this, designed this train. And this train was for 1991, the court of Baroque and Rococo. And this is the Rococo style. And this is what the train looked like with the girl, and her name was Jennifer Rush, Jennifer Gonzalez. And now she's Jennifer Rush. And you will notice that she has a collar and a beautiful headpiece, and she has the orb. And the orb represents the world and the Christ child, or the Christ vision in the orb, and it covers the world. And so the queen carries the orb, and she has the crown that the Lord has given us to wear.
That's wonderful. Could you tell us a little bit about this design here? Maybe you could describe it a little bit in detail for us?
Okay. I know this is a satin fabric, and there's a lot of satin fabrics, and you will see that we use our imagination. This process is very much use your imagination. We've used sequins to make a design. We've used rhinestones and stones, and we layer these pieces. You'll notice that this is the pale blue satin, but we've used a silver fabric, then we've used a gold metal cloth, and we layer and layer and layer so that you get the three-dimensional effect, and we use rhinestones. And here, this waterfall effect is bugle beading, which is the little skinny narrow tubes, and you connect them together and it looks like the waterfall effect. Here is a little fruit, and we did with seed beads, these little teeny tiny seed beads that get sewn on an application, then get sewn to here. This is, I call them seed beads, and other people call them bigger beads, and you just sew them and sew them and sew them together, and you cluster them together to give you the depth that the artist would like.
This is amazing. I can't tell you how beautiful this is when you see it in person. And when are they going to have this event, in April?
April 7th, it's one of our Fiesta events. And the tickets go on sale soon. And this is a way for families and girls to showcase their Christian faith. And it's kind of a coming out. And it's
But
a
this is
whole lot cheaper.
wonderful. What we're going to do is we're going to post all the information at the end of the program for you. So if you're coming out on vacation or anything, save it for April. This is near the Riverwalk, right downtown San Antonio, and you'll have access to tickets and everything else. And this is like going to one of the greatest and the finest pageants you've ever been to. So stay tuned. We're going to have the girls here with their trains and their gowns, and you're going to be amazed. We'll be right back. We're here with the Court of the 20th Century of the Coronation Association of San Antonio, and we're here with Kate, and she's going to tell us about herself and about what she's wearing. Could you, your first and last name, please?
My name is Caitlin Gartrell. I'm 17, and I am the Duchess of the 1960s. My dress train is to represent the moon landing. So.
And how do you feel?
Like a princess.
This is your ideal dream?
It wasn't what I was expecting going into it, but it's definitely the best outcome I could have hoped for.
The best outcome. And how does this make you feel? Does it make you feel competent? Or what does it do for you?
I'm certainly very, very happy to be able to have done something like this. It's definitely not something I've ever done before, something I won't have experience with ever again, but I feel absolutely elated to be here with all the other girls and to be here just speaking about this amazing experience.
Thank you so much, and I want you to go by very slowly so we could show everybody at home and everybody that's watching what you're wearing. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, and now we have the next young lady. And what is your name and your age, and what do you represent?
My name is Raquel Whitmire. I'm 15, and I represent the 1990s, and my train has Harry Potter on it, and because it got kids back into reading in the 1990s.
And how do you feel? How does this feel? Is it very heavy?
It's kind of heavy, but it's because of the way it's hooked in, it kind of disperses the weight a little bit, so.
Do you feel proud to be part of this organization?
Yes, for sure. It's just a really good organization to be a part of.
What does it do for you?
I feel that it really helped me with my confidence and being able to talk to people.
I think it's wonderful, and you're a wonderful speaker. Thank you so much. Okay, you can walk out that way so everybody has a chance to look at your train. Okay, now we have the next young lady here. Oh, I love your outfit. Beautiful. And what do you represent? What is your name, please?
My name is Skylar Dawkins. I am 16, and I represent the 1920s parties and festivities.
Okay, could you tilt just a little bit and so we could show the camera forward this way? Look at her dress, how beautiful. So this was made at the same time simultaneously as they were making?
Yes, ma'am.
And how do you feel about wearing this dress?
I really like it. I feel like I went back in time.
That's wonderful. And what does it really do for you?
Just makes me happy. I feel really pretty.
You feel pretty and special? Okay, thank you so much. Now, if you walk out this way, we can show everybody at home what that looks like. Okay, here comes Miss Glitter. The whole place is lighting up. How are you today?
I'm fabulous. How are you?
Fine, thanks. And what is your name and your age, please?
Okay, so my name is Caitlin Jowers, and I'm 17. So.
And what do you represent?
I'm actually one of the princesses. I'm the first half of the 20th century, so I'm 1900 to 1950. Well, 49.
Wonderful. How does that dress and that train feel? Because I see you have two heavy things carrying with you.
I feel like a real life. I base my life off of Disney, so I feel like a real life Disney princess. It's just, it's an amazing.
You look like a princess.
Thank you.
You're quite welcome. Thank you so much for coming here with your
Yes, ma'am. Thank
dress.
you.
And if you walk out this way, we can show everybody what it is that you're wearing. And you are carrying a lot of weight there. Okay, now we have a beautiful lady dressed in blue and silver. And I bet she represents what I love the most because I could see it. Capitol Records right there. Okay, and what is your name and your age, please?
My name is Catherine Clausen, and I am 19 years old. I am one of the princesses for the San Antonio Coronation, and I represent the second half of the 20th century.
When did you begin coronation?
Back in, I would say 2015, I was a duchess for 2 years before, and the first year I was Florida Everglades for the national parks, and the second year I was the Japanese cherry blossoms for world celebrations, and then this year, second half of the century.
I see you enjoy it. Do you plan to continue?
Actually, once you are royalty and you pass down your crown, that's like your goodbye walk, your farewell walk, and you were done being royal. You pass it
Okay,
down.
Miss Royalty, thank you so much. And we could walk out this way, please. Thank you so much. I hope you folks at home are enjoying this as much as I am. And we have my favorite coming up here. I think they're all my favorite. I wish I could collect them, but I would need a palace to put these in. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fine, thanks. And what is your name?
My name is Bryden McGraw. I am 19 years old, and I am the queen to the court of the 20th century.
Beautiful. This is my favorite. So I see that you're holding a lot of heavy everything.
Yes, ma'am.
Your dress is heavy?
Yes, ma'am. My train and my dress altogether weigh about 90 pounds.
Okay, and your crown?
Yes. Well, altogether, yeah, it's very heavy.
This is,
Would you like to hold it?
yes, of course. Oh, this is not as heavy as it looks. But your dress looks extremely, extremely heavy. And how do you do when you have to bow? How do you feel about that? Do you say, somebody please hold me because I'm going down, I'm staying down?
As royalty, we do not have to bow. Only the duchesses bow.
Okay.
But I did have to kneel when I was being crowned, so that was an interesting experience. Getting back up and trying to be graceful.
Tow truck trying to get you up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much for
Thank
being on the
you.
program. Walk straight out this way, please. Thank you. And now we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back. Okay, you're going to have the opportunity of seeing one of the most famous bows I've ever seen and one of the hardest bows I've ever seen with a lot of weight on you. If you could pull this one, you could do anything at the gym. There's no reason why you cannot pull this. Okay, here is Raquel Whitmire, and she's going to do it for us. Would you like to take a bow for us, please? Talk about graceful. Thank you so much. That was wonderful. And now you can just walk across. And we have all these ladies for you to view here before we leave you. And I'd like you to come to San Antonio, Texas during April, approximately April 7th at the Riverwalk. You will have all these girls here, and you will be able to have that ultimate experience. So I urge you, I'm going to be posting a telephone number and a website at the end of the program. Please call us, or you can call Roselle Gardens, and just make it a date to bring your family and come and enjoy during fiesta time. Thank you so much for watching, and remember that history is in the heart of the collector. I'll catch you on the next program.